Elian Cashew, you're a municipal councillor in Chisinau. You're deputy leader of your party, which is called Our Party, in point of fact. Can you just, in very simple terms, explain what is happening in your country and what you are trying to do about it by coming here?
Yes, indeed. I'm a municipal councillor representing the opposition to the regime of Vlad Plahotniuc, Our Party. I had a delegation of local officials representing our party to the Council of Europe. We came with a clear message of conveying from the first source to the Council of Europe official about the political repression, of how the regime of oligarch Plahotniuc is using law enforcement institutions or bodies that they politically control to basically repress, harass, and pressure local officials from an opposition party. So that's our mission, is our objective. We came to inform and likewise to see how the Council of Europe as an European institution can use its tools at hand to try to fix the situation, because what the repressions against our party and the leader of the party, Renato Usatii, basically these repressions violate the fundamental values the Council of Europe stands upon, which is rule of law, human rights and democracy.
But what can the Council of Europe do realistically? I mean, your leader, Mr. Usatii, he can't take a case to the European Court of Human Rights because that has to be referred by the top court in Moldova. So what sort of concrete action do you feel can be taken?
We are talking about the usual tools the Council of Europe can apply. First of all, concrete reports that, well, for instance, we went to the Congress of Local Authorities and how the repressions applied to our mayors and local councillors violate their European Charter of Local Autonomy. And then the second instrument of the Council of Europe would be fact-finding missions, where the officials will come and document themselves on the ground regarding the terrible and dreadful situation in relation to the local officials. I have to say for the Western European audience that I am representing here a party that has significant representation at the local level in Moldova. Our party has the most number of mayors of towns, 12 out of 30. But here we are representing over 1,000 local officials who face persecution, who face harassment on politically motivated grounds on behalf of what we call not only the leader or the boss of a mafia-type regime in Moldova, but Plahotniuc virtually owns the Moldovan state, like you own the tie, he owns the state.
But in fact, he has always denied being a member of the, what is it, Solstevskia Brotherhood.
Please don't talk, because I have to say directly to the viewers that Renato Usatii, the leader of our party, or any of my colleagues, we did not have any criminal offense until we got into politics. But most importantly, with Renato Usatii, the regime started pressing criminal charges on him as soon as he started to become politically important and his rating grew up. So he ended up with over 20 criminal charges. Of course, all of them are fabricated.
What sort of charges? What sort of things is he accused of by the authorities?
Okay, one probably ridiculous charge would be a fake one, where they took the Facebook picture of Usatii and of our colleague Nikolai Tsupovich, and on the basis of it, they fabricated a dossier where allegedly Usatii and Tsupovich would plan the assassination of Moldovan police chief, okay? And on the basis of this, my colleague Nikolai Tsupovich was arrested. He spent 4 months in jail. Of course, that case collapsed in the court of law, and my colleague was released. But for you, just for your viewers to understand the ridiculous criminal charges pressed, and the idea, the strategy of a mafia-type regime in Moldova is that they press a criminal charge, of course fabricated. You go to the court of law and you prove that it's fake, but follow up, they see that it's going to collapse, and they open new ones. they press new ones. And likewise, I mean, you can go for years and for months and you can hire lawyers, but it's the criminal nature of a regime to use state institutions against your own citizens, and this is what's happening in Moldova. Usatii in our party has become the target, the political target of Plahotniuc regime, because Usatii has been public and courageously talking about the corruption of a regime publicly. By the way, he for the first time talked about the threat of $1 billion theft from the Moldovan banks. Usatii publicly talked how Plahotniuc and his companion Shor were changing the shareholders of offshore companies involved in the $1 billion theft to replace them with citizens from Lugansk and Donetsk, so as to wipe out the traces that they are the real crooks.
We have to point out, though, that he has not actually been tried for this. Mr. Plahotniuc has not actually been put on trial for this, and the allegations have not been proved, have they?
Oh, look, this is a captive state. It's a term coined by Secretary Jagland for Moldova in the New York Times editorial, and this means a captured state means that the constitutional decisions are not taken within the constitutional framework, but outside in Plahotniuc's hotel, and the state institutions are concentrated into his hands, and these institutions serve their interests rather than the public good. This is the essence of a captive state in the Republic of Moldova. But of course, against Plahotniuc have been brought millions of accusations and solid evidence, very much of it Renato Usatii, and of course in a functional state you would expect the state institutions to respond, but it's not the case because these law enforcement institutions are under the political control of Plahotniuc. And you know, I have some sort of urge or call to the Western European media, please contact Renato Usatii. That Usatii has buckets of evidence against Plahotniuc that when placed into the Western media, it is going to simply explode.
How much of this is all to do with this $1 billion embezzlement, or, well, let's call it by its name, theft from the economy of Moldova?
You know, there was, I said it during the press conference, there was one European Union official in the Republic of Moldova. His reaction was likewise, how on earth it was possible to steal that much money in such a small country? How? And of course, I mean, we all understand that this was the theft, the embezzlement, as you say, was done in group. It was, you know, practically impossible for only one individual. Now they put in jail Filat, Plahotniuc's companion, 2 years ago, and it is virtually impossible because we all understand the theft was conducted in group, like a pack of wolves. But the Moldovan public opinion well understands and well suspects Plahotniuc and his cronies being involved into this theft, because we see the reluctance and unwillingness of politically controlled law enforcement institutions to properly control, to properly investigate what they did. The government of Plahotniuc, they have adopted a law that transformed the theft into the public debt. Meaning for the next 25 years, through taxes, the Moldovan citizens will actually pay the stolen money.
Mr. Plahotniuc he's been accused of these sorts of things, but as I say, it hasn't been proved. Where has the money all gone? I mean, there are stories of it being put through front companies in Russia, ending up in the Cyprus banks, in Latvia, all over the place. But surely that amount of money, somebody would notice it being carried around the system.
Look, I think Usatii has said it time and again. The Americans have proper mechanism and capacities to investigate if $3 or $4 leave Moldova. So certainly the investigative bodies of other countries know how the money left from Moldova, who's stolen them, and where did the money go. But as far as I know, there has been no official request from the Moldovan authorities to FBI, for instance, to help with the investigation. Why? Because, once again, the theft was conducted in group. And if you dig thoroughly into this crime, we may end up several hundred of Moldovan representatives of a Moldovan political class to be thrown behind bars.
Because in the West, it's often perceived that Mr. Plahotniuc is a pro-Western person. He has a pro-Western party, and that your party is pro-Russian. And you said that these East-West tensions are being played up. But in fact, I was in Chisinau the day the government collapsed, the previous government collapsed, and there was a huge protest camp, two, in fact, outside the Parliament building. One flying the European flag and being terribly pro-European, the other one with slogans against corruption in Cyrillic, clearly in Russian. So, I mean, the idea, there is tension there, isn't there? And it may be being played on, but it does exist.
Okay, the Western views should understand that Plahotniuc puts his geopolitical cap and basically tells the world, look, I am the beholder, I am the pillar of pro-European values in the Republic of Moldova. And I'm basically, he is carrying the Europeans and the Americans that, if I give up, if I go, then there is this real threat of the Russian tanks, of Putin. What, in fact, Plahotniuc is doing is speculating with geopolitics for his own benefits, just for him to be, and his cronies, to be able, number one, to embezzle the money from the Moldovan budget, and number two, to steal the European grants. With regard to Renato Usatii, it's a propaganda in our party. Plahotniuc, to the Westerners, is presenting Usatii as being the Moscow, the Kremlin's man, and the party being pro-Russian. That's wrong. And I stated clearly in my press conference that our party is a clearly pro-Moldova party, and we do prime such values as a functional state, rule of law, democracy, and human rights. And we are primarily in favor of strengthening Moldovan state institutions so that they function and they serve the citizen. And no matter who comes and the alternation of power, they continue these institutions really strong to function and serve the public good. This is our position. With regard to geopolitics, because there are huge speculations, and Moldova, unfortunately, continues to be a divided country upon geopolitical lines. But those who divide are the primary beneficiaries. They are the fifths, okay? Be it pro-Russian or pro-European, it means nothing, because I gave you a clear example. Neither Trump nor Putin will clean our streets, and we have to collect the garbage. It's it's just a simple matter. But it's so important that we do build these capacities. And by the way, we think, our party, that only a strong state can, for instance, implement the project of, say, European integration, because a weak blackmail state like that of Plahotniuc is not capable of implementing European Union reforms. They are discrediting the concept of European integration, because an increasing number of Moldovan citizens are associating European integration with corruption, embezzlement of funds, irresponsible government, and so on and so forth, which in fact European values, European integration means something else. It does mean citizen welfare, functional state, rule of law, human rights, strong judiciary, and so on and so forth. See, the reality is different.
But a lot of Moldovans that I've spoken to, in Chisinau in particular, I don't know about out in the countryside because I didn't get that far, they have Romanian, they've applied for Romanian passports so that they feel they're safe within the EU because they see Russian forces in Transnistria, for instance.
Look, the phenomenon with Romanian passports in Moldova, many my fellow citizens, they applied for Romanian passports just as a tool to getting into the European Union, to working into the European Union, because it was a means that would allow them to travel. But the bulk of these people, they are in favor of an independent and strong democratic Moldovan state. They love their country. And this is it. Of course, there are other things that still continues to divide the Moldovan society and the state. In addition to geopolitics, you all know it's the name of a language, it's the identity, it's the history. But Renato Usatii in our party comes with this consolidating approach. Moldova has been ethnically different and very much different during the Soviet period and way beyond. But it's very important that we consolidate and unite on the basis of citizenship. And that no matter how different we are, Orthodox Turks in the south, the Bulgarians, Russians, Moldovans, or Romanians, whatnot, so we all are united under this umbrella of Moldovan citizenship. And then on this basis, we start building a democratic, prosperous, and functional Moldovan state. This is the approach of Renato Usatii and our party.
There are the neighbourhood projects being funded jointly by the Council of Europe and the European Union. And among the ones that I know are ongoing in Moldova are the efficiency of justice, to name one of them, and the building of a bar association. It would sound as if they're not actually working terribly well in that case.
I'm not sure about the Moldovan Bar Association. I know they just got a new fashionable building from the old one. I know there are problems with the law that guides the activity of legal councils in the Republic of Moldova. But the general feeling, I know the bulk of money for the justice reform came from the European Union. And what we see new courthouse buildings, we see new furniture, we see new equipment, the computer equipment. But what we do not see, because we have political prisoners, okay, and when we go to protest against the illegalities of judges, politically controlled the prosecutors, you just bump into the flag of European Union, and it's something else. And in addition only to renovating the courthouses, a lot of this money has been stolen, and many of European Union officials are cognizant about this, that they were stolen by those in power. And that's a problem, because the position of Renato Usatii in our party is that the financial assistance coming from European Union and Council of Europe, for instance, in lesser degree, but the European Union has this strong financial tool. This money is for the citizens. It's not for the parties in power or the government. So, but it's a precondition to that is the government is not corrupt, but it's transparent. And likewise, with this mechanism, we can ensure that this money goes to the citizens. And by the way, I told you about the significant representation at the local level we have, and we are a model. Our town halls or village halls, that they are corruption-free, and whoever comes with a grant, it was a pledge to us, for the people, that our mayors are not there for their own benefit or for the benefit of their kin or relatives, but they are there to improve the lives of the ordinary people. And when we are doing this with meager and small resources we are having, so that's only one way forward, and I think this is consistent with the Council of European values. What we do and what we have achieved at the local level in Moldova.
Now, you've had a meeting with the Human Rights Commissioner here in Strasbourg. How hopeful are you that the Council of Europe has the powers, because it's not a powerful organisation, it's certainly not a rich organisation, how confident are you that it has the powers to in some way address the issues you have and save Moldova, if you like, to become a democratic state?
We came here because we think the problem we are facing deals directly with the founding values of this institution. We acknowledge the fact that this is not a rich institution, but we didn't come to ask for money. We came to solicit the Council of Europe to use its conventional rudimentary instruments and tools so that it can intervene. And these tools are concise reports, specialized reports, fact-finding missions, monitoring missions, and with these tools, I mean, we can change things. Of course, the situation cannot be altered overnight. We cannot expect miracles, but at least we have established this vibrant channel of communication. We are supplying in real time the Council of Europe authorities with the documents and materials so that they can have all the information at hand to take decisions. And the Commission for Human Rights, the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities, they did pledge fact-finding meetings. And of course, we will take them to these city halls and town halls that are problematic, that are under pressure, that are suffering, so that they can learn firsthand what we're talking about. And there's going to be a specialized report by the Council of Regional and Local Authorities on how the situation of these city halls and local authorities are violating the European Charter of Local Autonomy, and that's something very important. So it was very important for us to knock at the doors and to elegantly and persuasively present our case, inform the officials, and this was our goal, and we think we largely achieved it.
Ilian Kashu, thank you very much indeed, and good luck.
I thank you as well. It was a pleasure. Thank you.